If you're a physical therapist with your OCS and SCS certifications, pay attention. Hospital for Special Surgery, #1 in orthopedics, has partnered with NCH to bring elite musculoskeletal care to Southwest Florida. And they're looking for PTs like you. Work with cutting-edge rehab tech and thrive at a brand new state-of-the-art facility opening in 2025 in Naples, Florida. If you have your OCS and SCS and want to work with industry-leading physicians, apply now at nchjobs.org. That's nchjobs.org. Listen, if you're running a PT practice and you're still using old school systems, you're leaving time and you're leaving money on the table. Empower EMR is here to change that. It's an all-in-one, automated and built to streamline your scheduling, billing, and everything else so you can focus on what you do best, helping patients. Don't overthink it. Go to empoweremr.com. That's empoweremr.com. Book a demo and stop letting outdated tech hold you back.
Hey, good morning. Tony Maritato here. Dave Kittle about to join me in just a minute. He's logging on. It is January 16th. Welcome back to the PT Breakfast Club. Let's outline a couple of things we're going to talk about throughout the episode, and it's probably going to change, but I'll give you the general idea. I want to open when Dave comes on, and I want to talk about NIL, name, image, likeness, and the college transfer portal. I want to discuss if this is something we could adopt into the PT profession to make mobility more available to physical therapists. Seems like there's something we can, a pun in there we can make about mobility, but I'll let Dave think of it. We'll talk about some a la carte pricing issues that I see still in the Facebook groups. And I want to talk about a destination health offer. I was thinking about this yesterday. I am here in beautiful Middletown, Ohio, Steel Town, but I think that I can provide an offer that would attract individuals who have had a total knee replacement to come to Middletown for their acute rehab. So Dave, welcome back. What's going on? How's your morning going?
Hey, Tony, good morning. What are we talking about? Destination health. So we're flying to Ohio. Is that...
That's right. We're gonna, we know that people go to Thailand and we know that people go to other countries and have these amazing procedures done for a fraction of the cost. But I went to about 2 hours north of here to visit a physical therapist yesterday. It was an amazing experience. Genuinely blew my mind at what this husband and wife had created. We'll talk about it at the end of the episode, but it got the wheels turning. And I'm like, why the heck am I not doing more of this? I think that's the biggest thing of connecting with other therapists. Like, I connect with you. I hear what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I'm like, why am I not doing more of that? This is what happened yesterday. But you had said you had thoughts about NIL, and we didn't even discuss the transfer portal. Let's open with that. What are you thinking? Explain to the audience what NIL is if they don't understand it already.
Sure. So name, image, and likeness. Historically, athletes could not make any money at all. They could not have sponsorships, could not be paid by Nike. They obviously could not be paid by schools with recruiting, even though that still happens, like bags of money dropped off. And there's many, Blue Chips was like an old movie. Nick Nolte and Shaquille O'Neal was in the movie. That was what basically happens behind the scenes. But now it's like a whole new opportunity for college athletes, and they're getting contracts signed. They're having agents earlier, and money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in the top tier, sometimes a couple million, which is wild, including, I think, Peyton Manning and Eli Manning's nephew, Arch Manning, who is the backup quarterback at Texas. And so anyway, all of these athletes have the availability or the ability to have income and do different gigs, whether it's signing autographs, it's showing up to events. And I know, like, as we're kind of teasing this, and if there's anything else, I want you to fill in the gaps, but I know you mentioned this before. You like, hey, why can't therapist be, like, online? And how can we potentially have physical therapists be like the local celebrities and have some of this NIL money not directed to the physical therapist, but like creating our own lane or avenue, like with that type of a business model, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just side note, you're pretty choppy. You're pretty grainy. I don't know if you want to try and switch over to your phone. Like that was awesome the other day. But I pulled up an article in the background. The viewers can see it because I wanted real numbers. And so, like, this is saying Alabama quarterback Bryce Young took home an estimated $1 million from NIL money. They were talking about gymnasts that were making tons of money. They have 3.9 million Instagram followers, 7 million TikTok followers. Auburn gymnast Suni Lee, which I'm sure everybody knows from the Olympics, 1.5 million. Like, there was a story, and I was doing this research yesterday, that EA Sports had created, a college football game, and they were using image, name, likeness, but they couldn't even pay the athletes, so they stopped doing it. But now this just kind of blew everything open. Now, of course, there are detractors who say this is killing college sports. It's the worst thing that could happen. But this, in conjunction with the portal, the transfer portal. Now, I've been researching it and I don't totally understand it, but to the best of my knowledge, a college athlete could put the name, his or her name, into the portal and transfer schools. I don't think you're doing this like mid-season. I don't think you're doing this mid-year, but I've heard coaches come on and say they're quitting, college sports because they'll finish a season and immediately the student will say they put their name in the portal and they're leaving for a new school next year. They're saying that they can't develop talent. They're saying that they can't, have continuity. They can't build a team culture. This is all exactly the same stuff that practice owners, me included, are saying about physical therapists. They're like, I can't invest that much money into building a physical therapist reputation because if I do, they're going to leave. And so we're seeing that's 1,000% better. We're seeing this play out in college sports with big budgets. I think something like this would be great in our profession. We have some sort of transfer portal. Maybe there's a 4-week, 6-week window, but make it easier for staff clinicians to move, to relocate, to take other jobs. Remove the stigma of thinking, why does this person have to stay in an environment for a certain amount of time? Let's grease those wheels a little bit. I think it'll improve everything. What do you think about something like that?
I love it. I mean, I want to be the Deion Sanders of physical therapy practice owners. I want to attract the best talent. I want y'all to transfer over to my company. And I can show you some numbers behind the scenes. I'm not even behind the scenes. Like I've talked about it publicly here about the income opportunity and the support and the onboarding and the coaching that my therapists get. And I do a ton of that over phone calls, text messages, Zoom calls, in person, taking my therapist out to lunch and coffees and drinks and beers and steakhouse, what if they like that, whatever they like. So I love it. And I think owners like me will or could benefit more by that because we're, investing or we're focusing on the like the employee's experience, like in the actual job and the job role and all that, and the patient client experience, where, for example, we attract a ton of like motivated clientele as opposed to uh, other companies where like the therapist goes in and like the patient is like cursing at them saying like, I didn't ask for this physical therapy, why are you in my home, like get out of here, all that. So anyway, I'm curious, like I want to riff on it more with you and get into it because like I think owners like me would benefit for sure.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this and I was like, obviously there's millions of marketplaces out there. Like it's something that is already available. I've created directories that you could do something like this where it's live engagement back and forth. I think that the smaller providers are going to say, How do we compete, right? So Notre Dame has a huge budget. I was just watching this. So they're not part of a conference. When they get into these championship games, they get all of the money for them. Other teams that are in conferences have to divide the money. That's air quotes unfair. But it's like everything in life is unfair. I teach my kids every single day. If you say the words unfair to me, go to your room. No, I don't say that. But point being, small providers are going to be like, well, how can I afford to attract great talent when I don't have big budgets and I don't have, hospital based packages with $15,000 sign on bonuses? What do you say? How do they do it? How does a small provider like me attract great talent when I don't have that kind of budget?
I think you're a couple steps already into it. How you have an owner like you, Tony, who now is adding more technology. You've added SoftWave. You've added the Biodex reactive step trainer. Apparently now, yesterday you might be adding, or you're shadowing and you're looking at the newbie. So it seems like there might be some collaboration or some onboarding of new technology there. Uh, so let's say if you add the newbie, or you don't, but if you add, some other the ARP wave, which is similar with the direct current, or newbie with the direct current, whatever it is, um, that would be maybe one step. And then the next step would be you and your team start offering, as you talked about before, like maybe you're doing more Facebook ads, maybe you're offering more cash pay services for those new technologies, for those treatment offerings. Now you're going to be potentially, hopefully, attracting and reaching new consumers, new residents in the Ohio area that never came to your practice before. You know that they're out there. You said it on a previous show that they're there, they're nearby, they're spending their money elsewhere, maybe, or they have the discretionary income, they want to invest in their health and wellness, and your practice, Total Therapy Solutions, might be the conduit for that. So you get cash flow in from those packages, those new offerings, those things you're going to test. So you might test Facebook ads, you might run communication to previous patients, whatever it is. Then in 3, 6, whatever months, like, you might have more cash flow. You might have you might come, stumble upon like a little bit of an adaptive business model. And then you would have this extra money to either potentially pay PT match for, a boutique recruiting company, or to pay one of those sign-on bonuses to attract one of those types of therapists. I think that's how. I think you're like already a step or two into potentially doing that, if you or another owner wanted to do that. That's how. You can't do it with your current model, but you would have to either add new technology, maybe a brick and mortar in-network practice. Maybe they add home visits. If they're in a city, maybe they do the home visit like I'm doing, and you price anchor a crazy big number for weekend visits because your therapists don't want to do weekend visits anyway. And then the weekday, Monday through Friday visit dollar amount sounds like a deal because it's not as expensive as the weekend visit. So you take that money and then you offer it to the new therapist, as and then you could potentially compete with a hospital or any other system that is offering a higher salary. I think that is one of the easiest ways. What do you think?
Yeah, you exactly illustrated my intent, which is when we look at the conventional system, we look at third-party payer reimbursement that continues to go down. What does that incentivize? If I'm going to get paid the same amount across different CPT codes, regardless of the quality, the experience, the outcome, that's the killer part here. Outcome does not matter. The example I give to my zero to paid students every month is, look, Dave and I, pretend you're a Medicare provider. I'm a Medicare provider. You're an amazing therapist. I'm an average therapist. You see a Medicare referral for Parkinson's. He's been falling 2-3 times a week. He's got hip pain, back pain, knee pain. You do all of this amazing stuff. You've taken all of these continuing educations. You have a depth of knowledge that I can't even fathom. You see your Medicare beneficiary for 30, 40, 50 visits because you know that's what this person needs. I get the same person in a alternate universe. I see him for 4 visits. I'm like, okay, patient, this is a chair. This is how you get up. This is how you get down. You're discharged. I showed you what you need to do. You your patient has an amazing experience, does things that they never thought they would be possible. They return to driving, they return to community activities. My guy is no worse off, but you know what? The way the system is set up, I get a pat on the back. I don't get audited. I don't get extra scrutiny. You delivered more visits, even if you did everything right. And even if you get paid appropriately and document appropriately, you still get audited because you utilize more services than I did. You still get scrutinized. Who knows what the reviewer is going to be like? You know, what if you forgot to get a date, a signature, or something there within the 40, 50 visits? It doesn't matter. You lose everything. That's when they come back. And even though you didn't technically do anything wrong, illegal, whatever, you exceeded the standard of care to the point where they said, we're not paying for that. And so you lose all that time and money, right? The system as it is right now is not designed to incentivize improvement, innovation. They don't encourage us to buy better equipment, to go out and take better continuing eds. It is a race to the bottom, both financially, but then also professionally. Like, I am incentivized to get the cheapest equipment, to hire the cheapest staff, to barely provide an acceptable experience. The other model, the one you just described, it forces me to create a better business. It forces me to create a better patient care experience so that I can generate more money, so that I can pay more for the best clinicians. You know, and I think we have to look at where the incentives are. Scott said it best. I think it was last week. You look at the incentive, you look at the outcome, like all of this stuff makes sense. By the way, Scott said, Dave, how much money would it take for me to use your name, image, and likeness? He also said,
I don't know how that would work. Meaning, like, Scott would be down in Florida and saying he's I don't know, affiliated with my practice, or that he is Dave Kittle. Like, I don't know how he would how could we
just share your
how would we
social
leverage
security
it?
number and he'll figure it out. Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. That was the quote. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, like, absolutely. I mean, I really, again, going to this other practice yesterday, like, seeing how beautiful. I set this up. Let me see if I can.
So you recorded some video there?
No, when I should have. Isn't this ridiculous? Like, me, I did not. I did take some still pictures, but I actually did not record video. It blows my mind that I didn't. I was too involved in, like, hearing about all the stuff that they're doing. But what I've got.
And I saw you in the car, and I was going to ask you, "Hey, are we still live? Are we still on for Thursday morning?" Because you said a mini vacation. I wasn't sure how long you're going to this clinic. Are you going for a day or two? Like, how long are you going for? But you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. It was a 2-hour drive. It wasn't bad at all. Beautiful countryside. And so, like, this is a perfect example. Now, I don't want to take anything away from the city, the town, Coldwater, but it is out there kind of in the boonies. It's a big farming community. All around, it's just, you know, huge 40, 50, 60 acre farms. So it's not like downtown Manhattan yet. When you look at what they've created, I'll grab a couple of these videos here real quick.
And I can hear it, yeah.
Production value.
Okay, so they do like group fitness.
They built a separate area where they are doing performance. It's a big football town. These guys win the high school championship every year. They won this year.
My name is Shelby. I'm from the Maria Stein, Ohio area. I came to Performance PT to get some answers and hopefully help for some pelvic pain. What brought me here was
one of the big conversations we had, and you can kind of get a sense for what this looks like. This is the
Hi,
owner.
I'm Jackie Byrne, co-owner of Performance Physical Therapy and Wellness in Coldwater and Fort Recovery, Ohio. A school athlete, or any athlete for that matter.
Okay, let me kill that. She has people coming from all over the country, some out of the country, because she joined a Facebook group. It was for a very specific pediatric condition. She had a referral for this condition. I don't even know. Like, her depth of knowledge is way deeper than mine. It's a myelitis, something, whatever. And she had success treating this individual, this young kid. So then she joins this group. She starts answering questions. It was exactly the same path that I took. But the difference is she went and she just blew this up. She investigated more research and found more stuff and is using equipment. When I walked in, so yeah, I've got the newbie. It's a significant investment. She's got like 7 of them. They're all around the clinic. And she's got these other devices that I don't even know what they are. But the point being, she's got people traveling to this little town in the middle of farms everywhere because she has something that is so unique and so special that she created. She didn't this wasn't given to her. She worked for it. She built it. She got the word out. She engaged. And I look at that and I look at how beautiful everything is, the color scheme, the design. They built everything in-house. I'm like, I'm still buying broken down eBay recumbent bikes because I don't want to spend an extra $200 on a nice recumbent bike. And they have like a $5,000 UBE sitting there, but again, back to the system, Medicare doesn't pay me more if I use a $3,000 SciFit UBE versus a $30 countertop little pedal bike. So we have to understand the motivations and the incentives to see why things suck so bad right now.
Another thing, I think I mentioned it before, but you were describing like that Medicare situation. And like, if I tell that hypothetical Parkinson's patient for 30, 40, 50 visits a calendar year, I'm more likely to get audited. And I was just thinking that in my credit card processor for the past several years, like we've had 0 chargebacks. 0.
Yeah.
Now, of course, eventually we're going to have one. It's like, numbers, and volume based, like eventually, it's going to happen or whatever. But we've never had a chargeback because once the person, I don't know, in my opinion, you could break it down how you want, but like once the patient or client, the family, whoever, like we communicate the dollar amount up front, we say there's no surprise medical bills coming later. There's no other. Sometimes people ask, like, is there like any other, hidden fees, like a travel fee, a concierge fee? Is there any other, tax penalty, whatever, like this or that? Like, no, it's this, it's this dollar amount. It's this dollar amount. We say it over the phone, we text it or email it, whatever. So there's a paper trail of it. And we don't have any bad Google reviews about, surprise billing or anything like that. And we don't have any chargebacks. And so, yeah, we are consumer focused, and they know exactly, like they know what they're getting, if not delighted more so with like how it is over time. But not the component of where money is clawed back from a practice. Like that's crazy. Again, we know it's just part of living, and dealing with a third party system. And with all this insurance talk nowadays, I think it's even more so ever since the UHC thing. But regardless, like you do right by your patient, your client, your actual customer, your consumer. They agree to it. They know exactly what they're getting. And if they continue to see more value than the actual dollars that they're spending, all of a sudden you have like extra cash flow that you can buy some of these devices, and you can spend more money with Indeed ads, or I don't know, ZipRecruiter or whatever, or the sign-on bonus for your therapist, or paying them more. And then, then it continues, right? So then that therapist starts to see those patients, then you can work more in your business. Then you have more cash flow. You keep doing that, then you have extra cash flow. You do the same thing with the next therapist and the next therapist, right? So like it's not easy, especially because we're all kind of indoctrinated into like, units and insurance and prior authorizations and all that type of stuff. But it's totally possible.
And going deeper down that road, I just shared a post talking about manual therapy and dry needling. And so I had forgotten this was even an issue, but then I saw it in one of the groups that somebody had posted, well, my boss said you bill manual therapy code for dry needling. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work. Like you can't bill therapeutic exercise for neurosurgery. It's just, these are different things. So dry needling has its own CPT code. You cannot bill a different CPT code just because the other one is covered and dry needling is not. And so this opened the door as a reminder to say, hey, we do a lot of ridiculous things in this profession. I'm happy to talk about some of them, this being one of them. And I said, you can't bill 97140 and, deliver, I don't know it off the top of my head, the dry needling service. Plus, dry needling should be a self-pay service. It is specifically not covered when delivered by a PT, OT, or SLP. So why are you giving this away for free? And now this opens the door to the conversation for practices like me. How do we draw the line? I remember, so I started in 2002. I remember back then talking to therapists who had been in it since the early 80s. And they're like, oh yeah, we would schedule 80 patients a day per therapist. You would just go around, hot pack, cold pack, e-stim, and then you do a little bit of exercise. And you were making $300-400 a session. Well, when we're making $300-400 a session, we could give away a little TheraBand. We could give away an extra battery. We could give away this stuff, but if we learned anything from airlines, we realized that as price got compressed, airlines started charging for everything, snacks and luggage and drinks. We either take your direction and we say, I'm not going to nickel and dime. I'm going to be a premium service. I'm going to charge one rate and it's going to include everything that I want to do. And I'm not going to worry about if I give somebody something, because I'm back in that $200, $300, $400 window that I can afford to give somebody something. Or we're going to stay in the insurance world, serving the community that is only coming because insurance covers. And I'm going to basically a la carte them. I'm going to say, look, yeah, insurance covers manual therapy, but it doesn't cover this lotion. If you want me to use lotion, it's an extra 25 cents. If you want to take this TheraBand home with you today, it's an extra $1. If you want, every single little thing. Now, I'm exaggerating to show the point, but I still see a lot of therapists who are like paying the money. And we had this conversation yesterday. You bought a $3,000 UBE because it's that important to you. You want your patient to have such an amazing experience in your insurance-based practice that you're willing to take money out of your own bank account to fund the bill. And I've said this 100 times. If therapists really treated their business like a business, there is no way we would be delivering services for the amount of revenue we deliver service for. We would realize how much of our own money we're putting out there for patients to receive the service that we want them to receive. It's real quick. It's the equivalent to me telling a builder, hey, I just want you to build a shed in the backyard. And they build me a second house, but they do it out of their own pocket. And I only pay them $700 for a shed. It's never going to happen anywhere else. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like owners, I mean, I get it, but owners that are watching or listening, if they're in network, right? Like, I don't know, some of them might be able to change direction. And what do you think? Like some can't be saved. Some like just truly will say people are not going to pay out of pocket for physical therapy, or they don't really say it, but online they'll say it that they won't pay for physical therapy. But the fact is they might have a mindset, like a belief of, and you'd have to dispel that belief externally, which probably won't ever happen. But we see, I mean, listen, you see it anywhere, even in Ohio. Like there's women, there's people that pay a lot of money for like haircuts and a blowout and a perm. We talked 2 days ago, we talked about like the dry bar, right? Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah.
So there's people are spenders. I mean, look, Amazon has higher revenue every single year, and Walmart has higher revenue every single year. How is that possible? People spend money. People spend money. People complain sometimes about the cost of, gas or eggs or milk or whatever. People still spend money though. And that's in every community, even in low socioeconomic communities.
And, the prices go up. They don't go down. So I'm looking right now, Amazon Price membership. I don't even know. This is everybody loves to ask this question. How much do you pay for Amazon Prime? Nobody knows what they pay, but nobody wants to get rid of it. It's $14.99 a month, or if you buy annually, it's $139. I remember when it was under 100. I think it was 79 when we probably first signed up, but everything goes up. We're raising rent on the providers in our building because we're paying more in property tax and more for utilities and more for other stuff. Everything in the world gets more expensive. yet we continue to operate in an environment where we're getting paid less. So if you can't raise prices in network third-party payer reimbursement, you start to slice out shrinkflation. You start to slice out the things that you're not getting paid for. I'm not getting paid for my client to use expensive equipment. If they want to use the expensive equipment, it's a technology fee that you charge and make available, an access membership, whatever you want to call it. I do think we're going to see more of that. I'm working hard to try and decipher, like, that was a legitimate statement I made. I was thinking about this. I don't know, because I never bill it. So if you look at the passive modality codes, you look at something like eSTIM, even though some payers still pay for it, it's like, does that reimbursement cover the cost of the pads? If it does it cover the cost of a basic pad or a premium pad? Because if I can source a premium pad that is better than a basic pad, and my client's willing to pay for it because it's infused with lavender and it makes them heal faster, I'm going to make that available, you know? And so I know when we were looking at my son's radial fracture, like, he could get the regular plaster cast, but we didn't want that. We wanted a removable cast. So we paid extra to get a removable cast. We had the option though, you know, and that's the thing. I think we're so stuck in the mindset of not even mentioning it, just giving it away for free. And I'm there, like, but I can't be there anymore because I can't afford to be there anymore.
Yeah. So are you gonna hint at any potential offers coming down the pike for your Ohio residents around some of these out-of-pocket services, whether it's SoftWave, the Biodex, you know, or any, I think we talked about it briefly. I don't know if you want to go into it, but like,
yeah, I'm already doing $100 to $300 a month if somebody wants to come in specifically to use the Biodex Reactive Step Trainer. That's the treadmill with the overhead harness that has the slip and trip functionality to it. You know, so
you have anyone that you pitch that to, have they tried it already for free, or have they watched a video, or have they tried it themselves in person? Like, who have you offered that to?
Yeah. So usually what happens, and this is where, to me, I get super excited. This is where we get to build the business system and the experience. Real quick, a side note. So I was listening, you know, I always listen to YouTube podcasts on the way there, on the way back yesterday. I was listening to Alex Hermosi, and he was talking about getting Google reviews. And I was thinking, you and I, we've talked about this before, but one of the things he was saying was, you know, you leverage reciprocity. So you're a restaurant, the server comes over. On the low end, the server gives them a couple mints. On the high end, maybe the server gives them a dessert. And he said, you know, it's way more effective if the server gives the dessert unexpectedly, but then the manager comes over and says, you know, if you basically do this Google review, then your server will get an extra $10 bonus. You know, it's a program we're running. So sorry, my dog's back there and I can't get
It's
up.
all right. It's all right.
So like, looking at that, so maybe you get, you know, the server to say, hey, here's a couple extra mints, give us a Google review. But it's more effective if the manager comes over and says, hey, the server gets rewarded if you give us a Google review. How do we bring that into the clinic? So I would curate the experience in that the new patients come in, I make sure I've got somebody on the Biodex already. I've got somebody using it. I've got somebody who loves it. I've got somebody talking about it already. And so I'm not hard selling that new patient, but when that new patient asks about it, I say, yeah, it's an amazing tool. We have a dedicated program for it. It's $100 or $300, depending on how much assistance the person using it needs. But basically it's not covered by insurance, but it has been incredible. And so I'm not hard selling. I'm not convincing. The patient sees it and gets excited and says, that's exactly what I need. They're now coming to me saying, I want that. But I've curated that whole scene in the background so that the client sees it. And that's where the social media videos come in for the patients who aren't in my clinic. But for decades, You know, I would always have in a theater, you plant someone in the audience who's going to cheer and clap like crazy because it makes everybody else cheer and clap more. That was the original inspiration for what we used to call the wellness program. Was I would cherry pick the best, funniest, you know, most enjoyable people, and I would keep them in my clinic because they would make everybody else do better. Everybody else would come just for them. I've got a guy right now who comes with his joke book every Tuesday and Thursday, and he tells jokes and he like engages with everybody. Other people come just to see Dale. And so go ahead.
Now your practice should be going on Amazon and finding a second and third joke book and buying it for that guy so that he has more ammunition. He'll stay in your clinic longer. He'll be bringing the second one. Once he goes through the first one, he's like, eventually I can't be reading these, 2-3 times to the same people. Right. So if you guys offer, hey, just a gift, he's going to fall off a chair. You give him a gift like that. And it also incentivizes him to continue to come back and provide that good nature in your clinic.
You're totally right. I should have. He actually did buy his own different joke book because he got sick of the jokes that he was telling. But you are 100% right. So yeah, we've got the soft wave, we've got the treadmill, we've got the newbie. Like we're building these experiences. We're charging self-pay services for them. But even something like that, like even you take something like the newbie, which is a direct current eStim device. I'm still learning exactly how it works, so I can't speak intelligently about it. But, you've got Joe Rogan who used it. So I'm grabbing clips of Joe Rogan's podcast and incorporating it with a green screen into my marketing. And it's things that people see that improve the buy-in. Whether, you can have the clinical discussion of, is it placebo? Is it beneficial? Is there clinical research? Look, if patients are coming to me for clinical research, that's a different conversation. Patients or not, they're coming to me to feel better. And if I can deliver an experience that makes them feel better, function better, move better, do the things they need to do, that's what they're coming to me for. And as soon as I step out of every single little thing I do, having to qualify for insurance reimbursement, now I truly can deliver an experience that makes them move better, feel better, live better. So that's where I'm going with all this.
Amen. Love it.
Let me see. I had another topic that I said we would talk about. We hit, the destination. You and I have talked about, go ahead.
So you mentioned that at the top of the show.
Yeah.
I don't know if you recall specific. You said something specific. You said a destination for a cheaper price. I don't understand why you would associate that a cheaper price. And the example is we've talked about it a couple times, and I had the episode on my show, that Spiro Clinic down in Arkansas, and they help their patients create GoFundMe campaigns because their treatment program is 7 or 8 weeks long, almost daily. It's like a full-time job, and it's like $42,000 or something. You can go on the Dave Kittle show and look up. I forget what else. Spiro Clinic. What else was in the headline? But why would a destination therapeutic experience in Middletown, Ohio? Why did you say cheaper? Like, why I feel like sometimes you're too nice. You just default to like less resistance, or I don't know what it is. Like, because you could offer something that is premium and people would come, and if they don't, like, who cares? Like, right? Like, but the other example of the other clinic that you just visited, there was some other things that happened. And then all of a sudden, like you said, people were flying in from other states and other countries. So that doesn't sound like it's the cheapest option, because you have to pay for airfare and hotel accommodations and all that.
So I think you heard what you expected me to say, not what I was actually saying. And you're right. Most of the time I'm trying to deliver more value in a cheaper service. In the top of the show, I talked about going to another country, having a knee replacement done in India or Thailand.
All right, my bad. Yeah.
And it was a much less, out of pocket cost than having it done in the US. I'm not saying that's what I want to do.
Okay,
What
good.
I'm saying was the inspiration I got yesterday was I've got a total knee replacement support group with 15,000 members. I've got my total knee channel on YouTube, which is averaging like 6 to 8 million views a year. Why do I not have a program established, even if, to your point, I never have a client that does it, just for social proof, just for the fact that, hey, I'm going to put it out there, where somebody has consumed so much of my content, which so many people do. It's just crazy how they binge watch everything. And I focus on a demographic, a subset. So to me, there are enough people out there who had a knee replacement. It's been 3 months to 2 years. They still have pain. They still have swelling. They use the words to describe a vice-like grip around their knee. They say that they've been to the surgeon x-rayed their knee and their prosthesis and implant and everything looks perfect, but they know there's something wrong. These are very key words that this population is using constantly. Why don't I, just like I'm doing with the continuing ed event, we've got a hotel, beautiful hotel right down the road. We're a mile off of I-75, so easy access. Why don't I just create an intensive boot camp where either post-surgical or post-MUA, you fly in, you drive in, you get in the hotel, you come to my clinic 2 weeks every single day. We handle room and board. We address, food and delivery, and we do the Uber Eats, and we have transportation that takes you from the hotel to my clinic if you don't have somebody with you already. And we just put it all together in a, $3,000 to $5,000 package. It's not changing anything for me. I'm already there. I have the resources. I have the time, the facility, the knowledge. But it's one of those things where if somebody was like, yeah, I'll do it, I've got proof of concept. And now once I have proof of concept, now I can improve it. I can make it even better. I can figure out where the deficiencies are, where the bumps in the road are. But after seeing that they had people from the Facebook group, because I said, how are these people finding out about you? And they're like, oh, I answer questions in the Facebook group and then we connect. And I'm like, I absolutely should be having people coming here. Now, what I'm trying to figure out, this is the next step to this. We have a local surgeon that's amazing, like blows the doors off of everybody else. What if I went to him and I said, hey, I can attract people to come here to even have their surgery done here. Maybe they don't like the surgeons that they have available where they are. They would come here. You would be their surgeon. I would be their therapist. I think we could totally make something like that work. We start recording content. We start doing interviews. We do a couple little podcasts, if nothing else. Again, I've got a deeper relationship with this great surgeon who I would send my family to. I don't see any negative to it. And you and I have talked about just put an offer out there. Doesn't matter if somebody says no. It doesn't matter if somebody thinks it's ridiculous. Put an offer out there and just see what happens. What do you think?
I love it. You got to put the offer out there and you already have the audience. So why not?
That's where I get stuck. And I think a lot of people watching this, that's where they get stuck. You've seen, I shared it with you. I've recorded videos already. I've worked on my script. I've worked on my presentation. I've iterated on different concepts. I haven't shared a single one of those publicly yet. I'm getting, like, if it's a path, I'm getting a quarter of the way down the path.
You're taking steps. You're taking steps down the path. It's all good. You don't have to. But
that's where I
freak
out. That's where I freak out, and I'm like, I can't do it. I gotta give up. I gotta cancel it. I'm not gonna do this. And I'm sharing this because these are the real frustrations that we all face. We know what we should do, and it's the same for our patients. Move more, eat less, get strong, lift weights, go jog. Like, we know what we should do. There's something internal that stops us from doing it.
Let's have a quick therapy session. So is it possible, like, are you afraid that someone's going to pay $3,000 or $5,000? They fly in from, I don't know, Texas, California, Florida, whatever. They fly into Ohio for this potential multi-$1,000 thing that you're just talking about. And are you afraid that like they're not going to find value, they're not going to like it, they're going to yell at you in person and embarrass you in front of your other patients or in front of your team? What do you think you're afraid of?
So that's a great question. No, I'm not afraid of any of that. Genuinely, I don't believe I have any concerns about that. Um, I really think what's going to happen is I'm going to put the content out there. Somebody is going to say, yes, I want to do it. And then when the delivery comes, I'm just not going to want to do it. I'm nervous that I'm going to have like something that I want to do with my kids. And I'm like, oh man, now I'm stuck doing this for 2 weeks. I'm nervous that I'm going to overcommit and not want to deliver when the time comes. I think that's my true concern. And so that's been largely why I've stayed away. And this goes back to one of the topics I did want to talk about was how do you choose the right opportunity for you? Even though I look at that, I'm like, man, that could be a $3,000 payday. On the flip side, I'm like, but I could also do $3,000 with a course or something that doesn't take, that kind of commitment.
But
And so is this,
there's not enough value in courses. You know that. Like people don't do a lot of on the business side for therapy businesses. Yes, they'll do a course because Medicare billing, it'll make them an extra 50 or 100K or whatever. But consumers, they want experiences, they want in person, they want some contact. So maybe if you're making videos, like you can be the PT Barnum, like you can do the videos, but then you can say, hey, this is going to be fulfilled by Jeremy or whoever else. Like you can kind of interweave them and be like, hey, I may or may not be here. Like if I'm here, it's going to be a free bonus.
yeah,
But I'm busy because I have kids and a family, and I got 4 boys, so I'm super busy. Um, but if you describe all that, like you're not the prize, like you're not like it's your offering and the soft wave and the biodex and all the things that Jeremy can do for them. So like you're you don't have to be handcuffed or chained to the clinic if you don't have anything going on with your family and your kids. Like you can walk in and it's going to be like when kids are at like a football camp, right? And or basketball, it's like LeBron James
yeah,
basketball camp, right? And like but he's got all summer, I don't know, I'm just making up a name, like other athletes do this. And LeBron James may or may not even show up. Like it's not even you're going because of his name and the other trainers that he attracted and all that. And it's going to be a great experience. And like at one of those, he's going to show up and do like a meet and greet or whatever. And then it's like people go crazy, whatever. But like not like he's not showing up to all of them.
yeah. You're right. You're 100% right. And for people watching, listening, like this is the difference between somebody in your life who's like, you can't do that. That's never going to work. Don't even try. You're going to waste all your time and money versus somebody who says, you could totally do that. This is how you can do that. This is why you should do that. Like this is what it's like having the right people in your immediate circle. So you're right. I
Just got to
totally
find a
agree.
way. You just got to find a way. And that way, you're not chained to your clinic. And then if you really like that person, or you're like, oh my gosh, this person flew up from Sarasota, whatever, I used to live down there or whatever, you can drop by, you can say hello, maybe you do some of the treatments, whatever, and then you can dip out, you can leave whenever you want, because you're not the one, like you're promoting it, but you're not the one fulfilling it.
Yeah. And Jeremy would be amazing at something like this. And he has the time, he has the interest in doing it. Real quick, Scott said destination, great idea for acute post-op patients. I always wanted to do something like this. Put a clinic inside a fancy hotel, or how about a PT cruise? Yeah, I mean,
we've not done that specifically, but we have our therapists have gone to a lot of and I've been in some of the bigger hotels in Manhattan over the years where someone finds it on Google, or one of the big surgeons refers a patient to us. And we have patients that fly in from other states, other countries. I've had any time, it's like 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and then they fly home after like a knee procedure or something. Patients from Saudi Arabia, from one of the Caribbean countries, Oklahoma, like just random places, random states, random countries. where someone comes and they're in New York City for 2, 3, 4 weeks after like a knee surgery or some type of a procedure. And we've been in the Surrey Hotel, the Mark Hotel. One of my therapists last year went to in Midtown. There's like a, like Richard Branson, like Virgin Hotel. There's some Virgin Hotel, whatever. So, and that family was from like Germany or something. So we haven't done what Scott said about putting a clinic in the fancy hotels, but we've delivered our service in fancy hotels.
I shared this picture on LinkedIn. There's a bankrupt construction project. They were building a hotel. It was a Hyatt of some kind. That project went defunct, but now the city is refunding it. They're making a $16 million loan available to the company, and they're putting a physical therapy outpatient rehab facility in the ground floor of this Hyatt. Same thing. Like I was thinking the other day, I don't know if I shared this idea. A lot of people got into buying residential real estate, turning it into Airbnbs. Well, I don't do Airbnb, but I know the platform changed, the algorithm changed. I know regulations changed. And a lot of these people are stuck with these homes and they don't know what to do. I can totally see a situation where a personal residence kind of / Airbnb for medically involved individuals, whether it be somebody who's had surgery, even in the same town. They go to their surgery. They don't want to go back home because their husband can't take care of them, but they're not appropriate for skilled nursing or anything like that. They go to an Airbnb owned by a physical therapist who then can provide on-site services and ancillary care and everything like that. I was thinking about short-term stays in a personal residence for geriatrics who can't stay by themselves at home. They can't travel with their adult children, but they don't want their kids not to go on vacation. So if, you had your baby, your wife, and you want to go away, but you have a ailing parent, they go into this Airbnb where it's a physical therapist owned and operated, or OT or SLP. And it's a, short-term stay, 3 days, 5 days, but it's 24/7. And so these are individuals that would still be generally independent, bathroom, grooming, bathing, generally independent. They just need somebody around. They just need a little layer of protection. And if something should happen, I think those are interesting opportunities that we'll see getting more popular, because I've heard more therapists talking about doing something like that. Have you seen anything like that?
Not that exactly, no.
Scott also said, and funny you brought this up, Scott, a cheap $200 walking pad with a worn out belt also has a trip and slip feature built in, no harness. So I was on the phone yesterday with Biodex, and we were talking about the reactive step trainer, and they have a new vice president of marketing. So the original guy I connected with has been retired now, and the new guy coming in. This guy is interesting. He has a background in pharmaceuticals. I'm going to say sales. He was involved with hyaluronic acid and talking to orthopedic surgeons and doing the injections and all that kind of stuff. So I said, man, you and I have a big history with my knee replacement population and your history. But one of the conversations we had was exactly what Scott brings up. I'm like, look, there's a time and a place to just use a gait belt and push your patient, right? And then level 2 is you have an actual, like, there's a thing that looks like at Home Depot, there are these flatbeds that have wheels and a handle, and my kids get on it all the time and they pretend like they're surfing. That is a slip and trip function, absolutely. But as you continue to step up, as you continue to improve and elevate, that's when then you make the change to, okay, I'm going to invest in this $30,000 treadmill, and I'm going to invest in real professional technology. The guy, me, who's buying a broken down $250 recumbent bike is not the guy who's going to buy the $2,500 recumbent bike or the $5,000 recumbent bike. It's a different audience, just like our patients are different audiences. But to Scott's point, yeah, like you could do this stuff with nothing, but it's also a different experience when you have something that nobody else has. And right now, nobody else has the technology that I have, But if I keep it a secret, if I don't charge for it, if I give it all away for free, who cares? I might as well go back to the piece of silk on the ground and just pull it.
Exactly. And also, Scott, I'm going to reach out to Scott. We've never spoken, but I think I have a client heading down your way, so I want to potentially refer them to you because I think you're in the South Florida area. So I'll reach out to you, Scott. And also, Scott, thank you for joining here live and commenting and engaging and all that. Yeah, but Tony, you're already several steps down this path. You've been putting out videos of all these technologies, all these treatment options, and you're, I believe, moving in the right direction.
I'm going to give my parting shot. So think about yours and we'll wrap the show. I really think the thing that motivates me more, that makes me want to do this stuff more, is not the money on the patient side. It's not the time with the patient interaction. It's I want to do this so that I could show other people how it's done. So I can show other people that it's doable. Even though I don't want to really do it. I don't need to do it. I don't want to do it. That's not where the bulk of my income is going to come. But I think the motivating factor when I'm listening to you and everything you're saying, and I'm like, why am I not just doing it? The thing that'll push me over the edge to just do it is the fact that I know other people, other therapists will do it better once they see me doing it at all. And so that's probably what's going to make me say, okay, I'm going to do it one time. Let's do it one time and let's see what happens, just so other therapists can see, improve, reiterate, and get it done. What's your parting shot?
Oh man, parting shot is the same theme around offering potential out-of-pocket services. It could just be your plain Jane, one-on-one therapy visit. It could be using technology like Tony's using, but that offering the self-pay or direct pay options to your patients or clients, worst case scenario is they say no. You need to get over that. You need to get over the rejection. You need to, get some thicker skin maybe and all that. But I would say I disagree with what you're just saying about your parting shot, that you want to show others and that's where you would benefit. Like for me, like I want the freedom. I want choices. So that when I give you that suggestion of like, hey, Tony, you could be like the PT Barnum, do the promotion, but not doing the fulfillment, because that's what I like to do. Like I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing some of the new patient callbacks and speaking with new patients and clients and getting them kind of set up and managing expectations and all that. But then I'm not fulfilling the therapy services. I can be home with Davey Jr. I don't want to go out and treat patients regardless of the temperature, especially like right now it's 24 degrees, but even if it's like 64 or 74 degrees, I had enough of the running around and traveling and all that. So I give that suggestion to you because that's where I feel like that's what I'm focused on, which is having more of the freedom and choices. And it's hard to have the freedom and choices without the cash and the cushion to do so. And then you have that cushion because of a certain type of business model that has this type of cash flow with margins. And then you can pay your therapist handsomely because you're charging a little bit more for a different experience compared to what else is out there in your community.
People, look at how quick I forgot what Dave just told me. Dave said, I don't have to be the person fulfilling. And within 30 seconds, I turned around and my brain went immediately back to, I'm only going to do this to show other people because I don't want to be the one doing it. Like that is the killer part. That's the patient who comes into your clinic. You give them a golden piece of advice and they forget it 30 seconds after they walk out the door. Don't forget, go to Dave Kittle Show, go to the Learn Medicare Billing, go to PT Pinecast, subscribe, follow, do all the things that help us get this information out to more people.
And also go Birds. Eagles play on Sunday against the Rams. Go Birds. I'll see you in the Super Bowl.
All right,
The PT Pinecast is a product of PT Pinecast LLC. It is hosted and produced by PT Pinecast CEO Jim McKay and CBO Sky Donovan from Marymount University. We talk PT, drink beer, and record it. This has been another pour from the PT Pinecast. The PT Pinecast is intended for educational purposes only. No clinical decision making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can be present. More on the show at ptpinecast.com.
Physical therapists, if you're not up on blood flow restriction training, you're missing out. BFR, it's the future of rehab. Owens Recovery Science has the certification for learning BFR from the ground up. You'll get hands-on with the best tech, expert insights, and tools to deliver real results for your patients. Stop waiting. Check out owensrecoveryscience.com. That is owensrecoveryscience.com, and get certified in BFR today. Physical therapists, if you're ready to stop playing small and actually master your specialty, Brooks Institute of Higher Learning is where it's at. Imagine one-on-one mentoring, hands-on labs, top-tier facility, all while earning a full salary and benefits at Brooks Rehabilitation. We're talking 8 cutting-edge residencies, specialized fellowships, and a 93% board pass rate for graduates. Get trained by the best with the best. Check out brooksihl.org. That's brooksihl.org, and start leveling up your career today.